on the computer. Hello, everyone. My name is Evan, and I am joined today by Samantha Smith. She is with Turning Point Church down in Georgia, and she is the pre-K and nursery coordinator. With that said, though, Samantha, if you wouldn't mind, just to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background of what you do at Turning Point Church.
Yeah, like you said, my name's Samantha Smith, and I have been on staff here for a few years, and it's just in the last year transitioned to help oversee our kids ministry, specifically the nursery and preschool ages. And yeah, I love what I do. I've been doing it for I've been doing it on staff for just over a year, but I have been here and serving in our kids ministry for about 10 years. So, yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. And I'm curious, throughout those 10 years and to where it's led you today, like what called you into doing ministry to even start from 10 years ago to where you are today?
Um, Honestly, I always thought that I wanted to teach, even when I was in middle school, high school, and I just got connected to this church and it felt like home. And we just went through an internship program that they had here, and it ended up with me on staff, which wasn't really something that I ever expected, but I have loved every minute of it. So it's been a blessing for sure.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. That's amazing to hear that it came from, wanting to have that desire to then interning to having a permanent role within the church
Yeah.
and helping to serve the children as well as the congregates as well. So, with that, what does it all entail as a preschool and nursery coordinator? Like, what do you do on a daily or weekly basis to make sure that you guys are ready for success?
Yeah, so our church is about like 900 to 1,000 adult attendees. And so our children's ministry, we see close to 200 kids every weekend. And about half of that is in our nursery and preschool classes. So we have it broken down into nursery, toddlers, and preschool. Those are the three specific areas that I oversee, like classrooms on Sundays. So I oversee our volunteer teams for those rooms, and just oversee implementing curriculum and just the environments there, making sure that it's all excellent and up to par, that everything's ready for Sunday, ordering supplies, keeping snacks, diapers on hand, all the fun things. So, yeah.
Yes, yes, sounds like a handful, but you're helping to coordinate and making sure that everything runs as smoothly as possible.
Yeah.
And with that said, with everything that you are doing to make sure that everything is perfect and runs well and is up to date for week by week, how are you helping to maintain and engage those kids that are showing up in the class? Like, how are you guys running a Sunday and making sure that, engagement and the message is portrayed out?
Yeah, I'm always looking for ways to make our like physical classrooms better, whether it's rearranging, like just, I also have a different background with that like teaching side, where I'm really looking at it from a child development standpoint. And so I have a lot of that in me where I'm trying to figure out, okay, what is developmentally appropriate for these kids in this classroom, and things like that. And just making sure that the lessons and stories and curriculum that we're using is age appropriate, but still getting the gospel to even these young kids. Even in our nurseries, we're making sure that we're playing worship music, and just that the kids are engaged in what we're doing. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting too when you're segmenting it out, making sure that, it is age appropriate because what you're teaching to a nursery student is probably a little bit more, not as robust as the preschool and then,
Right.
elementary, so on and so
Yeah.
forth. So, yeah, that's amazing how you are segmenting it up and making sure that
Mhm.
though it is age appropriate, it's still portraying the
Yeah.
whole message. Um, perfect. With that said, with the engaging and making sure that everything is running smoothly, what are some of the values and important principles that y'all at Turning Point Church use to operate by, especially in the kids ministry, particularly?
Well, our values in the kids ministry are we want children to love God, love others, and then be safe and have fun. So that's what our mindset is around is how are we creating a fun environment? How are we creating a safe and secure environment so parents are confident that their kids are going to be safe here and um, yeah, just in creating that safe, fun, and environment for them to build relationships with us and with each other and stuff like that. So
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. It shows the importance too of having those critical foundation pieces of like,
yeah,
yes, we want to have fun, but we also want to make sure that we're discipling and teaching the kids
yeah.
about the whole reason why we're here.
Hmm.
Perfect. Thank you for that. And with that said, with all the principles and like values that you have at the church, like currently right now, as we're going into, the Christmas time and then 2023, because I know, especially in kids ministry, you're always thinking ahead.
Yeah.
What are some of your top like short and long-term goals in your kids ministry currently?
So we are our short-term goals, we're really trying we have struggled since coming back from COVID, just with our volunteer teams. And so right now, our children's ministry, the attendance that we're seeing is phenomenal. Almost 200 kids on a Sunday, is amazing, but our volunteers are not like the children are coming back, but the volunteers aren't quite coming back at the same rate. And so we have set a goal as a church to double our volunteer team this year from where we started in January. And so that is really been our goal is just adding people to the teams um, to make sure that we can take care of the children that are here. And some long-term goals, we're looking at just revamping our children's space in general and making it just more exciting, more engaging. Not necessarily just in the classrooms, but like in our lobby area. How can we create a more kid-centered space and just bringing in some design elements and fun elements throughout the whole space from where they check in to when they leave. So that's one of our kind of long-term goals.
Yeah. Thank you. It's really fun and interesting to see, making sure those classroom spaces are something that is inviting and also
Yeah.
wants the kids to come back over and over again, but also making sure that you have that volunteer base as well, because it's
Yes.
definitely a critical part of maintaining and growing, especially when you keep growing in kids and making sure that you're able to serve all those kids,
Right. Yeah.
because it can become a lot. Yeah, so with that said, throughout your tenure as in the ministry, especially kids ministry over the past 10 years, what would you say some of the biggest challenges that you have faced in kids ministry as a leader?
Um, Honestly, I think one of the biggest challenges we have faced is creating environments that are accommodating for all kids, regardless of their needs. We have a lot of special needs children in our area, and just creating an environment that we can meet them where they're at has been one of the biggest challenges I think that we face. And I mean, I think any church, any ministry, anywhere, volunteers are always a challenge. Um, but yeah, I think those would be two of the biggest challenges we've seen. So
Mhm. Absolutely, absolutely. Because I know, of course, your goal is to serve everyone in the community
mhm.
as well, but especially when you start getting into um, a lot of stuff going on, it can definitely
Yeah,
be challenging, especially with that volunteer base. It always comes back to it, right?
right.
And it shows but it also shows the importance of it and why they're so needed as a part of the body of
Yeah.
the church. So with that said, again, today I'm joined by Samantha Smith with Turning Point Church down in Georgia. With that said, I have just one final question for you, Samantha, and that is, throughout your time, you've been in kids ministry for quite a while and have been serving on staff for about a year now. What is one thing that you've learned over the past 10 years that you think would be beneficial for other church leaders, maybe in a similar footsteps as you, to know about kids ministry?
I think one of the most important things is to not do ministry alone, and not just in your church, but like connecting with other church and the big C church, as we say, like the church as a whole, and connecting with other local children's ministers and people who do what you do, and can help you see blind spots and brainstorm ideas. I know for me personally, that's a weakness of mine. I'm not a big like idea person. I'm more in the details. And so getting around people who do what I do and do it better than me or just do it differently than me, it just is a great way to just get some inspiration and ideas of how to better things that sometimes the answer is obvious and it's just not, it wasn't obvious to me, but as soon as I have a conversation with somebody else, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I think that's the biggest thing I could share.
Wow. That's so good though. That's so good. Just, the importance of having that whole community together and to bounce ideas off of each
Yeah.
other because it really shows with, the Big C church that
Mhm.
together is better than one,
Yeah.
right? So that's amazing. I love that. Thank you. With that said, again, I was joined today by Samantha Smith from Turning Point Church in Georgia. If you guys ever have any questions, you can always leave it down below. And with that said, have a wonderful day, everyone, and take care. Bye now.